Hi friends, Miss Danny from the Pleasant Hills Public Library, and I'd like to welcome you to the last STEAM stories of 2020. But don't worry, we'll be back in the new year with more STEAM challenges. So, do you remember what STEAM stands for? Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Today, friends, we're going to be talking all about trees. So, why do you think trees are so important? Let's see if you're right. Trees have been on planet Earth for over 370 million years, and they provide us with many, many benefits. They save water by slowing down evaporation. They keep us cool with their shade. They keep us clean when we cut down trees and turn it into toilet paper. They help save energy. They clean the air, they absorb carbon, and through a process known as photosynthesis, produce the oxygen that we breathe. In fact, 100 healthy trees removes 53 tons of carbon and 430 pounds of other pollutants each year. Isn't that amazing? The word tree is used to describe many different plants as long as they meet a few specific physical characteristics. They need to have a long trunk or stem with branches and leaves that extend from that trunk. Did you know that there is more than 60,000 species of trees here on planet Earth? That's crazy. Our next book talks about just 50 of those 60,000 species, some of which might be familiar to you and even growing nearby your house. This is I Can Name 50 Trees Today, all about trees, part of the Cat in the Hat's Learning Library, written by Bonnie Worth, illustrated by Aristides Ruiz and Joe Mathieu, and read today with permission of Penguin Random House. I'm the Cat in the Hat, and I want you to please take a few moments to look at the trees. If you pay close attention, you might get to exclaim, "There are 50 trees, I bet I can name." A tree is a plant with a stem made of wood. Do you know what a stem is? A trunk. Very good. Some trees grow to 10 or to 20 feet high. Some grow till their tops scrape the clouds in the sky. A cypress in Mexico that we have found has a trunk more than 117 feet round. And a tree in Australia, well, that's the land down under, stands 492 feet tall. Oh my, what a wonder. The branches grow upward and the roots they grow down. The branches and leaves are what we call the crown. Some crowns are like cones, like this cute little fella. Some crowns match the shape of my nifty umbrella. Some, like this willow, droop down to the ground, and some, like this apple tree, are nearly round. I'd say this white oak is as wide as it's tall, while this pine doesn't have low branches at all. Let's look at the roots. We will speak of them first. They hold the tree up, and they help quench its thirst. They draw water up, and science has found they even draw minerals out of the ground. Nearly 400 feet deep grow the roots of this fig that's almost as deep as this oil drilling rig. Pretty impressive, huh, friends? The trunk and the branches, the leaves and the shoots bring water and minerals up from the roots. The leaves then pull off one tremendous feat. They whip up the food that the tree needs to eat. They mix water up with rays from the sun, add carbon dioxide, and when the leaf's done, it gives off the oxygen that we need to survive. It's a gift from the trees that keeps us alive. Here's a fast grower that will surely amaze you. Over 1 inch each day this tree grows in Malaysia. While way up in Canada, a 4-inch slowpoke is 155. I tell you, that's no joke. So this process that they're talking about here has a big word for a name. Do you know what it is? Photosynthesis. And when we're done with the story, we'll talk just a little bit more about what that means.
Some leaves are so simple, one leaf to each stem, while others have leaflets growing on them. Some leaves grow on stems in these neat little pairs. Some others you'll find grow unpaired upon theirs. Whorled leaves grow around a tree's branch in a ring. Some leaves are sharp-toothed, others smooth. That's a thing. Like your ears, some have lobes, which means that they are shaped a lot like your hand, or a mitten, or a star. Bark does for a tree what your skin does for you. It stops the weather, the bugs, and the germs getting through. The bark of the redwood, you have to admire, is 2 whole feet thick, and it protects it from fire. The bark of this tree is what has made it famous. Shagbark hickory is what the shaggy tree name is. A neat trick a friend of mine just showed to me is to find out the age of a once living tree. A new ring is added with each living year. Let's count up the rings in this stump over here. A year that has rain leaves a ring that is thick. This thin ring means drought, or our poor tree was sick. So let's see. That's an awful lot of rings. We've counted, and we'll share our answers with you. It's 67. Did you find that to be true? I'll hold it here, friends, so you can try to count all of those rings. Whew. The oldest tree ever, and this one is fine, might be 4,700 years old. A bristlecone pine. Whew. There are all types of trees, but of course you knew that. One has needle-shaped leaves or scales that are flat. Its seeds come in pine cones, so let's be exact and say it's a conifer. Yes, that's a fact. We have all the different types. The conifer trees, the pine trees, the juniper trees. Another type, broadleaf, you've probably seen in the fall turning colors and losing its green. The seeds from these trees come in nuts that are hard, or in soft or dry fruits, like in Sally's backyard. So she has a cherry tree in her backyard. That's pretty cool. And then there are palms. They grow where it's warm, with leaves like a feather or fan-like in form. The world's largest seed from the coco de mer weighs 50 whole pounds. Whew! You better beware. Forget not the lily trees, lovely to see, like this king of the desert, the Joshua tree. If you ever get burned, then you had better go get the leaf of the yucca that we call aloe. The tree fern is oldest, and what is more, it doesn't have seeds. Instead, it has spores. The tree fern fares better in much warmer weather. This tree's rather short, with a leaf like a feather. The kykit is old, and for what it is worth, there were kykits when the dinosaurs once roamed the earth. It looks like a palm, but a palm it is not. How long is its cone? 3 feet long. Whew, that's a lot. The tree called the ginkgo we've saved for the last. The first one grew 250 million years in the past. One thing that I think you should know about ginkgo, its fruit doesn't smell good. In fact, it smells stinko. Now get yourself a blank book to press leaves that you find. Glue them onto the pages. Your mother won't mind. I should say, ask your grown-up first. Note the tree's bark and the shape of the crown. Note the shape of the leaves and then write it all down. Take a look at this book or get a tree guide. Match up your leaves to the pictures inside. Write down the tree names and learn them by heart. This book contains 50, and that is a great start. Knowing trees' names, my dear miss and dear mister, is like knowing the names of your brother or sister. We can't have enough of these wonderful trees. So, When you see a bare spot, go plant a tree, please. So as promised, let's talk a little bit more about what photosynthesis entails.
Photosynthesis is the process in which green plants, including trees, takes in light, water, and carbon dioxide and turns it into the food it needs. Light energy is converted into chemical energy as the tree takes in carbon dioxide and releases oxygen. Yay, oxygen!
Now that we've learned about the many, many, many benefits of trees to our environment, let's talk a little bit about other ways that we can protect our environment. One thing that we can do is to plant more trees. But there are more things you can do as well. And now I'm going to talk just a little bit about some of our books that talk about different things you can do at home to help protect the environment. Please remember that we are closed to the public right now, so you can't walk in and grab these books. But what you can do is start a curbside pickup order by giving us a call at 412-655-2424 or sending us an email to pleasanthills@einetwork.net.
Here are some of our books to help you learn more about helping the environment. Going Green, Down-to-Earth Guide to Global Warming, How to Reduce Your Carbon Footprint, Kids Who Are Changing the World. Growing Green, We Are All Greta, 10 Things You Can Do to Reduce, Reuse, and Recycle, and True Green Kids. Now here's some books to help you learn more about trees, with the first one being called Trees. A tree is a plant. You wouldn't want to live without trees, which is part of a really awesome series. A seed is a start. Eyewitness Tree, which is also part of a series. Can You Hear the Trees Talking? And then 2 fun picture books, A Tree is Nice and We Plant a Tree. Remember to let us know if you'd like to check out any of these awesome books.
Our title story is about Wangari Maathai, who fought back against deforestation in her village in Kenya and ultimately returned her village to prosperity. She is also a world-known environmentalist and Nobel Prize winner and the founder of the Green Belt movement. So let's learn a little bit more about her with Wangari's Trees of Peace, a true story from Africa, written and illustrated by Jeanette Winter and read today with permission of Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Press. The earth was naked. For me, the mission was to try to cover it with green. Wangari Maathai. Wangari lives under an umbrella of green trees in the shadow of Mount Kenya in Africa. She watches the birds in the forest where she and her mother go to gather firewood for cooking. And she helps harvest the sweet potatoes, sugarcane, and maize from the rich soil. Wangari shines in school, and when she grows tall, like the trees in the forest, she wins a scholarship to study in America. 6 years later, her studies over, Wangari returns to her Kenya home and sees a change. What has happened? She wonders. Where are the trees? Wangari sees women bent from hauling firewood miles and miles from home. She sees barren land where no crops grow. And where are the birds? Thousands of trees have been cut down to make room for buildings, but no one planted new ones to take their place. Will all of Kenya become a desert? She wonders as her tears fall. Wangari thinks about the barren land. I can begin to replace some of the lost trees here in my own backyard, 1 tree at a time. She starts by planting 9 seedlings. Watching the seedlings take root gives Wangari the idea to plant more, to start a farm for baby trees, a nursery. In an open space, she plants row after row of tiny trees. Next, Wangari convinces the village women that planting trees is a good thing, and she gives each one a seedling. Our lives will be better when we have trees again. You'll see, we are planting the seeds of hope. The women spread out over their village, planting tiny trees in long rows, like a green belt stretching over the land. The government men laugh. Women can't do this, they say. It takes trained foresters to plant trees. But the women ignore the laughter and keep planting. Wangari pays them a small amount for each seedling still living after 3 months, their first earnings ever. Word travels like wind rustling through leaves about the green returning to Wangari's village. Soon other women in other villages and towns and cities in Kenya are planting long rows of seedlings too. But the cutting continues. Wangari stands tall as an oak to protect the old trees still remaining. We need a park more than we need an office tower. But the government men disagree. Wangari blocks their way, so they hit her with clubs. They call her a troublemaker and put her in jail. And still she stands tall. Right is right, even if you're alone. But Wangari is not alone. Talk of the trees spread all over Africa like ripples in Lake Victoria. More women hear the talk and plant even more seedlings in longer and longer rows. The seedlings take root and grow tall until there are over 30 million trees where there were none. The umbrella of green in Kenya returns. Women walk tall, their backs straight, for now they can gather firewood closer to home. The land is no longer barren. Sweet potatoes, sugarcane, and maize grow again in the rich red earth. The whole world hears of Wangari's trees and her army of women who planted them. And if you were to climb to the very top of Mount Kenya today, you would see the millions of trees growing below you and the green Wangari brought back to Africa. In African cultures, as well as some other cultures around the world, a tree means peace. So that's why it's called Wangari's Trees of Peace. Our STEAM challenge today has you building, designing, and creating your very own peace tree. All the supplies you'll need for our STEAM challenge are available as a take-home kit in our lobby while supplies last. If you can't get one of our take-home kits, chances are you can find at least some of these supplies around your house or at a local store. Our kit includes 16 pipe cleaners and then some glittery and shiny leaf confetti. Our challenge today is to build a tree using these supplies that will stand up all on its own. You're probably going to need a couple things from home. Some scissors, glue, and maybe also some tape. There's lots of different ways to construct your tree using pipe cleaners, so I want you to experiment and see what works best for you. I'm going to see what works best for me, and we'll touch back in a minute. So a cool thing about pipe cleaners is that you can twist them and then untwist them and then twist them again. So if you don't like what you've made, untwist it and try again. I started by making my base with a triangle shape, but then found it was a little lopsided. So I untwisted it and then made it into kind of a circle. Not a perfect circle, but a little bit better. And now it stands much better. Now I'm ready to add some of the green that will represent the leaves. Your kit includes 10 green pipe cleaners, and you might find that 10 is way too many, so don't feel like you have to use all of them. Also, you can cut your pipe cleaners if you would like to make them a little bit smaller. I recommend using
grown-up or at least very sharp scissors because there's metal inside the pipe cleaners. But please, please, please be careful. So what do you think of my tree, guys? It stands all by itself, and that's the goal. I want to make sure you know that every tree is going to look a little bit different. So if you're working with a sibling, chances are your trees are going to look quite different. And that's okay. The differences make them extra special. As long as your tree can stand up all by itself, it passes the challenge. And now we're ready to decorate with those glittery metallic leaves. Now if you have any pipe cleaner ends exposed, you can thread the leaf confetti through using the little holes that are in each leaf. Probably can't see that, but it's there. Or you can use glue. I recommend using liquid glue because glue sticks just aren't strong enough. And again, don't feel like you have to use all the leaves in the container. It's up to you. It's your peace tree. Ta-da! Once your peace tree is dry, you can display it somewhere in your house, and I hope that it brings you peace for the coming year. We would love to see pictures of your completed peace tree. You can send us a picture to pleasanthills@einetwork.net, or you can have a grown-up post it into our special Facebook group, Pleasant Hills Library Virtual Programming. Well, thanks for joining me today, friends, for STEAM Stories. I hope you enjoyed our stories and our STEAM challenge. We'll be back in 2021 with more STEAM activities, so make sure to watch our social media accounts for the announcement. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and a very happy new year. I'll see you soon, friends. Bye!